Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, sorry I missed last week. A lot of things happening. My girl got her master's degree, and we had to travel and move stuff, and it was a whole bunch of fun. 22 hours of driving. So anyway, today we are back on schedule, and we have our regular Android Weekly Android Q&A. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you are watching this after it's been filmed, just ask your question at AskTheAndroidGuy@gmail.com, and we will answer your questions next week. So first, let's start on the news. What happened during this week? Let's get to the bottom of it, and then we're going to go through all of the viewer questions that happened during the week, and then answer the ones at the bottom in the comment section down below. All right, so the first article I want to talk about today is Apple is being sued by ex-iPhone users. Yes, there's a class action lawsuit against Apple because of basically, if you're not aware, I did a video on this on how to fix this. But essentially, what happens is if you're on an iPhone and you move to a Samsung, all of your messages from other iPhone users do not get sent to you. And that's because it still thinks your phone is an iPhone, so it's sending it to iMessage instead of regular text message. Now, there's a very simple fix for it. Check out my channel for that fix. However, what happened is, people didn't know about this fix, and there was so many things that were going on for this. First of all, Apple employees were being total douches and telling customers, "Oh, it's a problem with the carriers. It's a problem that." It's a problem that it's going to be faced as long as you don't have an iPhone, so you need to switch back to an iPhone. And they were literally told, even though customers said, "Look, I'm out of my 14 days. I can't return this phone." Well, you still need to buy an iPhone if you want if you want to receive your text messages. Like, they know about these solutions, and yet they didn't do it. So what the fuck? But yeah, so that's been in a couple articles on what they really did. But basically, why they're being sued is, people use this every day, their phone every day. So, especially when it comes to wealthier people, they're like, your error cost me thousands or millions of dollars because you're telling me that I can't get it fixed for 45 days. And that's another thing they were telling them. So it's hilarious because, like, the fix that I put on my channel happens in seconds. It happens in seconds. As long as I've seen, the longest I've ever seen it take is 10 minutes, and that's because this person's getting a lot of iMessages at once. So once it fixed itself, though, it was done, and that's it. So yeah, but this iMessage error has really gone out of hand. Apple themselves are now claiming that they will quickly do a fix for it, but if you're not if you don't update to their newest version of iOS before switching, then it won't matter. You can't get the fix without getting the newest version of iOS that they have yet to release. So that's that. The second thing is we have seen the Galaxy S5 Active in the wild. So yes, this is the Galaxy S5 Active. As you can see, it does have the hardware buttons like the Active from before on the S4 Active. And what is the difference? Well, this new one has something called an Active button, which is a button on the side right here. And essentially what the difference of that is that you can be used for, say, loading the camera from any screen, and then after taking a photo. You also have a lot more rugged design, and it seemed to have a launcher of AT&T. This guy is called from TK Videos, I believe it was called. And as you can see, the design on the back is definitely different. You have rubberized around the side, and although this looks like plastic, he seemed to say that, like, the buttons were metal and certain parts of it were metal. So essentially, yeah, there he goes, TK Tech News. But so essentially, this is really supposed to be more ruggedized, and he's claimed it's even thinner than the original Galaxy S5, which is, again, impressive. So would you get the Galaxy S5 Active instead of the S5, or do you not like it aesthetically? The one thing that there probably won't be is as many color options. The gold was just released for the Galaxy S5. There's probably going to be as many color options, but does that matter to you? Do you still want a regular Galaxy S5, or would you prefer a Galaxy S5 Active? On the third news, yes, the Surface Pro 3 was announced, and although it is impressive all the changes they've made, the pricing is, at the end of the day, what really gets to me. Because for this price point of $799, which is the same price point as an Ultrabook, I only get an i3 processor. At that price point, I would get an i5 processor with 8 gigs of RAM. So that's my big problem with the Surface Pro. That if it wants to replace a laptop, then be priced at a laptop. You are currently being priced less than a laptop. Not to mention that at that price, it only has 64 gigabytes of storage. Even for the next version, you have an i5 going for 128 gigs, again with 4 gigs of RAM. Again, if this had 8 gigs, then it would be similar to a price point. However, you have to keep in mind that none of these prices come without none of these prices come with the keyboard, so you're still spending another $130. Now, if I were to get a model of this, I would probably go with this one. This one seems like the most logical to me, but for that price point, again, I still have to add $130. So I'm talking about spending $1,400. I feel like I'm better off, let's say, like one of the Series 9 Samsung laptops or the HP Envies, and I get the same kind of configuration, if not better. For probably less again. So this is my issue with the Surface. I feel that I preferred the lower end Surface, which they are now no longer making. There is no Surface RT model this time around. There is only the Surface Pro series, which added some benefits. It's lighter and thinner. It's a bigger screen. It is now collapsible to a really great, amazing angle with theirs. And if it would have been priced lower, I might have considered it. Of course, if we compare it to the iPad and the Note 12.2, the Note 12.2 is its closest competitor in terms of size and weight and everything like that. But again, the Note is actually even lighter than this one. Now, of course, this one has actual real computer hardware, so that's where this one is impressive. In terms of pixels per inch, it's the lowest, but still above 200 pixels per inch. And although they still did not improve their, they did improve their camera. I think their camera was even lower than 5 megapixels. I think there was 3 on the Surface 2. But basically they improved their front camera to a 5, which puts it ahead of the curve, which is a first for Microsoft being ahead of the curve when it comes to certain things. And again, built-in storage and RAM is all dependent on how you configure it. They are not interchangeable as well. Once you get a certain amount of RAM, you cannot swap it out, which is again very annoying. It's something that you can do with a laptop that you're not able to do with these. And again, the price point can just be astronomical, and that's my again issue with it. Now these will come out June 20th. It seems like you can get your pre-orders already, but this is, I don't know. What do you guys think of the Surface Pro? I just cannot see myself getting it instead of a laptop, and that's still my big issue with it. What do you guys think? I'm curious to see what anyone else thinks of it. And in other news, the HTC One M8 Prime is supposed to be. Now, if you don't know about the Prime, this is not going to be a replacement for the One M8. This is going to be, again, another phablet competitor. So no matter what anyone tells you, like, oh, they're already coming out with a new one better than the One M8. No, it's not. It's not. Well, it could be better. And it will be better, actually. But it's going to be like what Samsung does with the S5 versus their Note 4 that'll be coming out. They're not upgrades of each other. One is a different series. So the M8 Prime is going to essentially take over the HTC One Max. It's going to be the upgrade of that. And it's supposed to add some really cool features. For one, it's supposed to add a waterproof, or more likely water-resistant. So that's going to be a big thing that it's going to have. It's going to have the new Snapdragon 805 processor, which, I'm guessing the S5, what was it S5 LTE will be the first one to have that processor, although that's only going to be in again, in the Asian markets that have LTE. We won't be getting it in the US. But so that's going to be, I would say, the first thing about it. Other than that, I don't know what else it's going to really have for the HC1 Prime. There's rumors it's going to have a 2K display, meaning Quad HD essentially. It's going to have 3 gigs of RAM instead of 2, and those are what we've been hearing so far from EV Links, who is great at leaking out stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, if you didn't see my trial information on everything between Apple and Samsung, I do have a summary on all of the 3 trials that have happened on Apple versus Samsung, although there's only 2 that happened in the US. So for the second one that just finished, that a lot of people are hearing about that, that Apple won against Samsung. Yes, but they won far less money than they wanted to. Apple asked for 2.2 billion and got awarded 119 million, which again, since they paid Samsung 11 billion in parts, this doesn't seem like much at all. It's like, ha ha ha, you got like a less than 5% discount. Who cares? But so that's the real issue with it, where like Apple feels very cheated and they're very upset. They want a ban on the Samsung products, which again, if they were to be awarded a ban, it will be up to the Galaxy S3, which is sold at prepaid carriers like Boost Mobile and things like that, but it's not sold really in stores. I don't believe carriers really carry the S3 anymore. But again, this is how far and out of date trials typically are in terms of what they have. All right, guys, so I'm going to be getting into the emailed questions of the week. If you guys have questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Hey, EV Hill. If you have questions, ask them in the comment section down below, and I will get to them, and I will be answering them after I answer the questions that were emailed to me. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to email me if you're watching this afterward at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com and make the subject question, and then ask your question in the message. All right, so Noreen Robinson asked, just watched a couple of videos. I'm trying to understand my new tablet. One problem I have is I had AOL email for years and wanted to keep using it on my tablet. Will that be a problem for me? Well, no, but I do always recommend that you use so if you're still using AOL, Yahoo, or Hotmail, if you're using any of those, instead of using the built-in email app, which like companies like HTC, Samsung, LG usually have a dedicated email app. The thing is, I've noticed that those don't always sync that well on Android. I'm not sure why. So what I recommend doing is finding the app made for it. So for AOL, for instance, they have a AOL News, Mail, and Video. And this is a quick way to have access to your mail wherever you go. And it's quick and easy access, so you can get to your email right away, and literally all you do is click that little mail link, it looks like at the top, and then you would use your AOL mail. So this is what I recommend. If you have Yahoo Mail, there's a Yahoo Mail app. You have AOL Mail, there's a AOL Mail app. If you have Hotmail, the app would be Outlook. Hotmail has changed to Outlook, so it would be Outlook's app. And these would be all the apps dedicated for those. So that's what I recommend you do. Use the dedicated app for the mail. Galaxy S5 question. Hi, just got my phone. I would like to get my iTunes library from my desktop computer to my Galaxy. Can you tell me how to do that, please? Absolutely. Actually, I have 2 different ways of doing that, and I have videos on them on my channel. It's called Moving from Apple to Android. Is the series. But essentially there's 2 different ways of doing this. There's the way I prefer, which is Google's way. So Google has something called Google Music, which as long as you have a Gmail account, which you have to have one to have Android anyway, you download it to your you log into your Gmail account on your computer. Then you Google Music, which I can give you the exact, let me see. So if you Google Music, the exact web address is music.google.com. So that's the exact mail address. And once you go to that, it will ask you to download the program or app, depending if you're on a PC or Mac. Once you download it to your computer, it will tell you, where do you get your music from? Do you get it from iTunes? Do you get it from Zune? Just kidding. Do you get it from, do you have it in a folder because you torrent everything? Who knows? Wherever you get your music from, you click that one. And then, so in your case, it would be iTunes. And then it will actually ask you, do you want us to continuously update your iTunes? So what this means is, say, if it's the family's iTunes account, and someone else in the family downloads a new song, it will not only import everything from iTunes at that time, but it will continue to import new songs that you purchase through iTunes, which is, of course, why I like this way of doing it. And it'll take all of your music and all of your playlists and import it into Google Music, which Google Music you can use on 10 Android devices with that account. So you can use it on your computer, you can use it on your Android phone, tablet, everything. And it syncs up everything. So that's why I like that way. The other way of doing it for one device, so for your Galaxy S5, would be Samsung Smart Switch. Samsung Smart Switch will take it, again, you go to Google Samsung Smart Switch, you download it on your computer, and it will back up your iTunes and put that on your computer. Now, that requires you having had made a backup file for your iTunes, for your old iPhone on that computer using iTunes. Now, if you haven't done that, then you want to do the Google Music way. If you just want it all on one device, you don't have other devices, you don't plan on getting other Android devices, then do it the Samsung way. But Google's way is much, much better, in my opinion. All right. Jonathan Rogers asks, hey there, I was wondering if it's possible to upgrade my Galaxy Tab 2 10.1 to Android 4.2.2 any further, or if it's possible a natural update or root. So I don't know where that one is at right now. I would assume it's on Android 4.0 at least, or 4.1. But is there a way to update to 4.2? No, not without rooting. And rooting is a whole other thing. I don't go over rooting on my channel simply because I don't like making my channel too techy. I try to keep it for everyone so they can understand it. I know how to root. I've done it before. Been through all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can only do it through rooting unless Samsung releases a Android 4.2 update to the Tab 2, which I want to say they're on probably. I would say you have to be on 4.0 or 4.1 by now, but getting updates better than that on the Tab 2 is very unlikely since they're on the Tab 4 already. So I just don't feel that it's going to happen after that. All right, and I'm about to answer the last question, guys. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section down below, and I will do that. I will answer those after. Steve Townsend asks, hey Ricky, I hope you can explain and solve my problem. I used to connect through all sorts of Bluetooth devices to my Note 1, and my Note 3 it won't connect to them. Been trying to find out the problem. Samsung. I see. Yes. If Samsung told you that they have to specifically say Note 3, that is crazy. No, you do not have to specifically say Note 3 on your Bluetooth device. I thought Bluetooth was standard. Bluetooth 4.0. No, that's completely false. Apparently, Bluetooth 4.0 is completely 100% backwards compatible. Yeah, so no, that's completely wrong. And lots of devices have had Bluetooth 4.0. I think Bluetooth 4.0 has been around since the S3. All Samsung devices have had it. So your Note 1 wouldn't have had it, but your Note 2 or a Note 2 would have had it as well. So yes, your Bluetooth device would have to be, I believe, I want to say 2.1 to be compatible with 4.0. Simply because that was a difference of being able to have stereo and talking. When 2.1 came out, as opposed to 2.0, because 2.0 was it didn't have like support for stereo and talking at the time. So something like AOSP or something like that. But yes, I'm not sure why yours is having a problem. I used to use my keyboard wedge. I've used both the keyboard, mouse. What other things? I've connected plenty of Bluetooth headsets. I've connected it to my Bluetooth car. Um, Bluetooth speaker. I've connected my Note 3 to a lot of things. The best thing I could say is, try removing any pairing you have. So, when you pair your device, oops, hold on 1 second. I hate passwords on phone. Damn you, company, for making me have one. All right. So when you pair two devices on your Bluetooth, you can see you have a list here. So if, say, if my car, my Sonata, was not connecting to my device, I would hit the, oops, no, I would not hit the connect button because you're not going to connect to it now. I would hit the settings button on it, and then I would unpair. I would completely unpair it and then try pairing it again for the first time. But that's really, I mean, that should work. Your Microsoft Wedge, I believe, was 2.1 or newer, if it was Bluetooth 3.0. But yeah, no, Bluetooth 4.0 again has been around for a long time, and what I think Samsung told you that they were probably just trying to cover themselves, by saying, oh, well, it has to be, 3 device compatible. No, it doesn't. But it should be fine no matter what. I'm really curious. Do that. Try to unpair it if it ever did pair, or if it didn't pair. Try connecting it like this. Do this. Go to a Best Buy and connect to one of their Bluetooth speakers. Connect to it right there and try it to there. Those Bluetooth speakers will be Bluetooth 3.0, just to make sure that it's working. And then go to, because it could be your Bluetooth's bad. Maybe your Bluetooth is just bad. So, and if you can't connect to any device, then that's a problem. So then it's a defective model, and you can get your money back, or get it exchanged, because your Note 3 is under a 1-year warranty, so they'll cover it. So yeah, do that. You can even you're in Australia, I believe, right? Yeah, so you can go. But yeah, so do that. So go into an electronics store, pair to a Bluetooth speaker that they have there, like a Beats Pill or Jambox or whatever you have. And make sure that works, to make sure your Bluetooth is working at all. But those are the things I would try out. Hopefully it helps out. Please email me again. Let me know if it works. All right, guys, that was the emails that I've gotten. Now, what questions do we have in the comments section down below? And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. All right, Eve Hill, hold on 1 second. Have I ever considered doing a hangout? Well, technically this is a hangout on air, so I'm doing a hangout right now. But I'm guessing you mean, of course, like a hangout when talking to people back and forth and everything like that. I don't know. I do like to have a controlled kind of session, and I've talked to other people that have YouTube channels and everything like that. And usually it's kind of like, I wouldn't mind maybe answering like a question live, and then, but then again, like taking a person off the hangout then or something like that. But it's interesting, because you don't want like to invite the wrong person to do a hangout. Like, say, if I did a contest for, and if you got to be the winner, you would be part of a live hangout or something like that. And then this person either was just trash talking the entire time or something. It's a difficult situation, but that's why I like taking questions from you guys live, so I can answer any questions. So it's a part of connecting with with you guys, because you guys view, and I want to be as helpful as I can to you. But I feel that's always a gray area. I have Dropbox, Google Drive, and Mega account. How safe are my pics and docs, etc.? So I am a big believer in Google Drive and in Google Plus photo backup, auto photo backup. I am not a believer in Dropbox. I have over 100 gigs free from Dropbox, and I do not use it. The reason for that is because I have had 3 friends on different occasions had their photos vanish. Now, these were photos, not documents, but you said documents, etc. Oh, you said my pics and docs. So that got me very worried about Dropbox. Now, obviously, these could have been 3 isolated incidents, never happen again, of course. But, when something happens like that, you're just like, this is working fine for me. I don't need to go over here kind of thing. So that's why I don't care for Dropbox. Mega, I have a Mega account as well. I just don't use it. I also have a Mighty Text account that does that. Mighty Text is my app that I use to text message on my computer to my phone. That has a backup photo thing. I don't use that one either. I don't. I have one that works, the Google Plus, and it syncs up to my Google account, and I find that to be the best. That's just me though. I like when I either want, if I have a Samsung Galaxy S5, I either want Google or Samsung to provide me with all my cloud needs. I don't want a third party unless this third party is really offering me something that I can't have otherwise. And the thing that I use Dropbox for is APKs actually. So if I wanted to share an APK with someone, I'll do it through Dropbox. That's what I use Dropbox for. So yes, those are my uses for Dropbox, Google Drive, and Google Plus for photos. That's the only thing I use my Google Plus personal for is the photo upload. Kronos DB, hey, how have you been? How do you turn off the auto video record on my Galaxy S4? When I press the camera app, then switch to video record, it starts recording automatically without waiting. Do you have a fix? My S4 never did that. I'm really curious why yours does. What I recommend you do is do this. So, and I've talked about this plenty of time with whatever the app is. I always recommend doing this. If you have an app that's acting funny, so your app is definitely acting funny, take the app. So take whatever app it is. Say if it was the Best Buy app, right? So I'm going to take this Best Buy app, and I'm going to move this to App Info. From here, I'm going to force stop, and then I'm going to clear the data. This is calculating right now, but I would clear the data, and what that'll do is it'll reset it. So basically, it's kind of like when you factory reset a phone. This factory resets the app, and that should set it back to the way it first was when you first got it. Now, make sure you check a look at my how to set up your camera for the S4 video, or if you don't have that one, if I don't have that one, which I'm not sure if I did a how to set up your camera video for the S4. Yes, I did. Make sure to do that so that if you do that, your camera's back up, because it takes away the 13 megapixels, it brings it down to 9, and you want to fix up your camera afterward. But try that Kronos, and it should be fine. What phone are you looking forward to see come out? The Note 4. If there is one phone that I am just so curious about right now, is the Note 4. The Note 4 is one that I am really, really looking forward to. I want to see what they're going to do. I really, really want to see what they're going to do. And the fact that they may come out with what is it? Gear Blink or something like that. But basically, like it's like the equivalent of Google Glass. With my Note, I'll be in heaven. I'll just be like, yes, take my money. The Futurama comment. Shut up and take my money. That is going to be awesome. The G3 is obviously coming out. Coming up, the G3 is cool. I don't see anything wrong. I don't think there'll be anything wrong with it. LG has never wowed me yet. Please, LG, wow me. We'll see that this week to see if they do. I don't know if they will. And after the G3, it's a slow time. We're probably gonna have Samsung release the S5 Active and the and I think still the overseas one will be the S5 LTE, which everyone thinks is the S5 Prime. I don't think it'll ever come to the US. If it does, awesome. but I don't think it will be. So yeah, those are the phones I'm most looking forward to. I'm curious about the iPhone Air. When it comes out, we'll see what it has to offer. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 720p display, 4.7-inch screen, 8 megapixel with a f2.0 lens. Ta-da! That'll be it. Yeah, but that'll be it. It'll be called the iPhone Air. And it's going to have 2 smartwatches with it. That's it. But yeah, and HTC One Prime will come out. Any other heavy hitters coming out? I'm curious what Nokia will do. We don't see a Nexus till the end of the year, so yeah. That being said, about Google Drive, I have a note too. Is there any way for the photo automatically to send it to Google Drive? No, I believe your photos by default send to using the Google Plus app. So if you open the Google Plus app on your phone, it'll tell you, do you want me to back up your photos and only do it over Wi-Fi? When you do that, it will back up automatically to Google Plus. Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, I want to say it's Gmail, Google Plus, and Google Drive are all in the same storage. So they all give a total, I think, of 25 gigs, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. How many? 15 gigs, maybe? Maybe. Yeah, but 15 or 25. Well, let me check my personal one. Because I think I have more than that. Maybe I could be completely wrong. Yeah, I have 25 gigs. So depending on when you signed up, I guess, for Gmail, it's either 25 or 15 gigs of storage that you get. So there you have it. Do you think it's a fail if LG G3 comes out with an 801 processor instead of an 805 with the S? So here's the thing. We have all got but confirmation on the LG G3 coming out with the 801 processor, which, if you recall, I didn't believe it would. I thought it would have the 805. So I do believe the LG G3 will come out with an 805, but it's pretty much all been confirmed. On every single thing we've gotten leaked from them, it's an 801 processor. Which, again, the reason why I find that hard to believe is LG is always trying to one-up Samsung. So their G2 came out after the S4 last year, and they came out with that again to be like, look, we're better than Samsung. And you know what? The G2 compared to the G4 compared to the S4 in hardware it was. You couldn't argue that it was better. Now at the same time, you had the S4 LTA overseas, which was equivalent to it. So, but in the U.S., the G2 had the better hardware compared to the S4. Again, I was quoted on CNET as saying the G2 was one of the last year. I said it's one of the best phones out there that no one cares about. So here's the thing. I don't think the G3 is going to sell. I'm sorry. Not in the U.S. Possibly overseas, absolutely. But the G2 was supposed to sell 10 million in 2013. They sold 3 million. Just to give you an idea, that was about, 5 months that they took to sell 3 million? The Note 3 is a Samsung phone, not their flagship phone, but a Samsung phone, sold 5 million in 1 month. So I think it's going to be hard for LG. Now, LG is making their money in their mid-range and entry-level phones. They have, for T-Mobile, for instance, they have a L90 that is kicking the Samsung Lite's ass in terms of sales right now and everything like that. So, they make their money that way. But in terms of high-end, LG, I don't know what they need to do. They need to up their marketing. I mean, both HTC and LG, just horrible marketing. And later on today, I'm going to do the camera comparison. Finally, I have all the photos uploaded between the HTC One and the S5, so you'll be seeing those. And we'll also be seeing some others come out as well. I'm going to do a couple of things, and this isn't I'm going to explain what the differences are between the S5 and the HTC One and why one's successful and one's not, because I feel like there's too many techies on the internet that don't understand this. So I kind of wanted to simplify it in simple terms, and this isn't a diss to the HTC One, because I love the HTC. if the HTC One had a better camera, it would be a great phone. But the camera is what gets to me, and you'll see that in the upcoming videos and everything. But yeah, sorry, I got a little rant there. BJ, also the Galaxy S5, or sorry, the S5 already has LTE capability. AT&T confirmed this. S5 Prime should still come to compete with the S. So the S5 does not have LTE in the U.S. The U.S. version is not LTE compatible. It's compatible. AT&T hasn't. I'm not sure where you got the AT&T has confirmed this part though. That's the thing, because it doesn't have it does have the bands. I understand that, but it doesn't have the capability to do it in the version of it in the U.S. isn't the same as. I'm trying not to get too techie here, but it's not the same, and it won't. Again, the S5 Prime won't be coming to the U.S. I will bet you anything. I mean, like if I'm wrong, that'll be great because I would love this phone to come to the U.S. But I doubt it will. I really, really doubt. I have friends in all these different companies that I ask a bunch of questions to, and every one of them, and besides, I mean, obviously, we don't always want to trust CEOs, but the Samsung CEO already said there's no such thing as the S5 Prime, flat out. But we have seen the LTE S5 leaked in Japan's websites for their carriers, and it has the same exact specifications that we thought that we've heard the S5 Prime would have. That's why I have already put on a video that is what most likely will be. But yes. And what do you think of the Sony Xperia Z2? I think it's a great phone. I really do. Here's the problem with Sony phones. They take forever to come to the U.S. And so that's why Sony's not a player in the U.S. Their phone takes forever to come out. That Z2 was announced in January, came out in February, and it's still in the U.S. It won't come out till June, July, around that time, and that's the problem that Sony takes too long to come out with their phone. Now, to be fair, this Xperia Z2 is still comparable to these current phones right now, which is different compared to the Xperia Z that came out at last year's CES. The Xperia Z last year had the old Snapdragon, what was it? Snapdragon 400 processor, or before they even were called 400 800, they were called something else. But it had a generation back to compare to what the current generation out in the market was. So, and because of that, it just fell behind. So that was a problem with it. So yeah, I think Sony would do a lot better if they would come to the U.S. more soon after their announcement. But yes, I'm really curious about checking out LTE. Sorry, because that piqued my interest. I am like 90% positive that the Galaxy S5 does not. Yeah, because see, a lot of spec reviewers thought it had LTE, but then later retracted that it was actually once we got it in our hands that it had it, and that's where a lot of the confusion for the Galaxy S5 came about, because of how it was advertised in the beginning and how. So let me see. Supports. So basically, so here's the thing. It allowed, so the 801 processor allowed to be LTE compatibility to be compatible, but they didn't have the bands for LTE, and that's where a lot of the confusion kind of led to. Because yeah, if it was combined with LTE, then it would have this kind of capability and this kind of speed and everything like that. But Yes. I'm seeing 3 articles confirm what I just said right now. That yeah. So yeah, so that's the whole thing with the S5 and its LTE. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just needed to make sure of that because that threw me for a curve. So yeah, guys, sorry. Hopefully that answered all of your questions. And it looks like the comments have stopped. I will refresh one more time to see if you guys have any more comments. And that looks like that's all the comments. All right, guys. If you do have any other questions, email me at askandroidguy@gmail right here, and I will answer them next time. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for asking questions live. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.